Motion moved. Those in favor will please say aye. Those against will please say no. I think the ayes have it, the ayes have it, the ayes have it. The motion is adopted. Statement by Minister, Shri S. Jaishankar.
Honorable Chairman, sir, I rise to apprise this august House of the key foreign policy engagements and initiatives taken by India since the monsoon session, which ended on 8 August 2022. During this period, Indian diplomacy continued apace. Honorable President, Honorable Vice President, and Honorable Prime Minister interacted with a number of their foreign counterparts in India and abroad. We also participated in events linked to the G20, the SCO, and the ASEAN, while hosting a number of foreign dignitaries in India. This included the Secretary General, Antonio Guterres of the United Nations. I myself visited a number of nations, as did our Minister of States, and we received many of our counterpart colleagues here in India. Together, these activities reflected India's growing interest, expanding footprint, and more intensive partnerships. Through these efforts at multiple levels, we were able to advance our national objectives in a world that is increasingly beset with uncertainties, disruptions, and rivalries. Honorable President met Her Majesty Queen Maxima of Netherlands, who visited India from 29 to 31 August 2022 in her capacity as the UN Secretary General's Special Advocate. Prime Minister of Bangladesh, Her Excellency Sheikh Hasina, also called on Honorable President during her state visit to India. Honorable President's first overseas visit was to the United Kingdom to attend the funeral of the late Queen Elizabeth II. Honorable Vice President represented India at the India-ASEAN Commemorative Summit at Cambodia, which elevated the India-ASEAN relationship to a comprehensive strategic partnership. He also attended the 17th East Asia Summit, which is an important forum to promote free, open, inclusive, and rules-based Indo-Pacific. Apart from bilateral engagements in Phnom Penh, he visited UNESCO World Heritage Temples at Taprom and Angkor Wat, where conservation and restoration work has taken place with India's support. Furthermore, on the invitation of His Highness Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani, Amir of Qatar, Honorable Vice President attended the opening ceremony of the FIFA World Cup 2022. This reflected India's long-standing relationship with Qatar, which is home to over 8.5 lakh Indian nationals. Honorable Prime Minister participated in the Samarkand Summit of the SCO Council of Heads of States, where India assumed chairmanship of SCO. As chair of SCO, India's priorities are to advance the theme of secure, articulated by the Prime Minister initially at the SCO Summit in Qingdao in 2018. Secure stands for security, economic cooperation, connectivity, unity, respect for sovereignty and territorial integrity, and environment. At Samarkand, Prime Minister voiced global sentiment when he declared that this was not an era of war. His statement was in the context of the Ukraine conflict, where our advocacy of dialogue and diplomacy has been consistent and persistent. It has a larger resonance as well. We have also extended support on specific concerns such as supply of food grains and fertilizers, as indeed on security of nuclear installations. Our position has been broadly appreciated by the international community and finds reflection in the G20 Bali Declaration. I'm very happy to inform the House that Kashi has been designated as the first SCO cultural and tourist capital for 2022-23. This would facilitate showcasing of our age-old knowledge inheritance and our rich social and cultural heritage. The Prime Minister also attended the state funeral of the late Prime Minister Shinzo Abe of Japan, who was a particular friend of India. In his meeting with his counterpart, Prime Minister Fumio Kishida, Prime Minister noted the invaluable contributions made by Shinzo Abe to strengthening India-Japan relations, as well as conceptualizing the vision of a free, open, and inclusive Indo-Pacific region. Both PMs renewed their commitment towards enhancing India-Japan strategic and global partnership and to work towards promoting regional and international cooperation. The Secretary General of the United Nations, His Excellency Antonio Guterres, paid an official visit to India from 18-20 October and joined Prime Minister in Kevadia to jointly launch the Lifestyle for Environment, LIFE initiative. Heads of state and governments from France, UK, Estonia, Georgia, Maldives, Nepal, Madagascar, Mauritius, Argentina, and Guyana contributed with the messages of support for the LIFE initiative. Allow me, Chairman Sir, to now turn to the subject of G20. As the House is aware, the Prime Minister attended the Bali G20 summit recently, and we soon thereafter assumed its presidency. G20 is the premier forum for global economic cooperation, representing around 85% of the global GDP, over 75% of worldwide trade, and about two-thirds of the world's population. Prime Minister has noted that India's presidency of the G20 during the year of Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav is a matter of pride for every Indian. The G20 meetings have already commenced in India, and our endeavor is to organize about 200 of these meetings in 32 different sectors in multiple locations across India. The G20 summit is to be held next year, and it would be one of the highest profile international gatherings to be hosted by this country. During the G20 Bali summit, held under Indonesia's presidency, India extended fullest support to ensure its success. Our contribution to finding a common ground among members in a polarized environment was widely appreciated. Prime Minister also held discussions with counterpart leaders on key issues of global concern. They focused mainly on reviving global growth, ensuring food and energy security, promoting technology, preserving environment, and addressing public health and digital transformation. As is customary, many of these opportunities also provided an occasion to take stock of our bilateral relationships. Since we are assuming that responsibility, this was also a time to seek the support and cooperation of all G20 members for the success of India's presidency. Honorable members are aware that the G20 is taking place in the larger context of a geopolitical crisis. Food and energy insecurity, slow progress on sustainable development growth, mounting debt burden, and challenges to climate action and climate justice. Our endeavor is to build consensus within the G20, champion causes, especially of the Global South, and shape the setting of the agenda. This will also be an occasion for us to highlight the 3 Ds of India: development, democracy, and diversity. In our global engagements, we have discerned strong interest in India's digital delivery, public health response, green growth and development, as well as the empowerment of all sections of society. There is also an enhanced interest in our democratic traditions, which go way back in our pluralistic and consultative culture. We envisage the G20 presidency as an occasion to showcase India to the world. This will be done through cultural activities, regional festivals, technology programs, sustainability initiatives, millet promotion, one district, one product promotion, community engagement, and civil society activities. Our presidency will witness a Jan Bhagidari, where all of India would not just participate, but celebrate this occasion. As the House is aware, government has briefed leaders of political parties in this regard. We see this as a truly national endeavor and seek the cooperation of everybody to make it a success. I would also like to highlight that India will provide a stronger voice to issues of interest of the Global South. This is very much a part of our DNA. It was in evidence most recently during the vaccine Maitri. Our emphasis will be on sharing the India story, caring for all, and taking collective action. It will focus on emphasizing our achievements and priorities such as digital India, clean energy, sustainable lifestyles, women-led development, and multilateral reforms. Prime Minister's initiative on lifestyle for environment, and India's millet initiative, which has resulted in the UN declaration of the year 2023 as the International Year of Millets, would also be prominent in India's approach towards addressing the SDGs. Today, we are building stronger bridges with both developing countries and advanced economies. Apart from our G20 presidency, we are members of a growing number of groups and mechanisms. Some of them are relatively established, like the BRICS and Commonwealth. Others have been more recent, like the Quad and SCO, and still others are emerging, like the I2U2 and the Indo-Pacific Economic Framework. We are also increasingly engaging the world in group formats, reflecting the growing interest on their part to cooperating with India. This could be with the ASEAN, with Africa or the Pacific Islands, or indeed the Nordic nations, CARICOM, CELAC, or Central Asia. Our growing collaboration with the European Union is of particular importance. Chairman, sir, I would like to share with the House that the ministers of MEA have been equally active during this period. I have myself hosted the foreign ministers of Maldives, France, Singapore, Botswana, United Kingdom, Ghana, Gabon, Belarus, Syria, UAE, and Germany in this period. I would also highlight the India-Singapore Ministerial Roundtable and the collective interaction with 12 African ministers dealing with education and skills who were here at the invitation of my colleague Dharmendra Pradhan that took place in Delhi. It would give the honorable members a sense of the breadth of our engagement and the growing global interest in India. This was also in evidence during my outgoing visits to Thailand, Brazil, Paraguay, Argentina, UAE, Japan, Saudi Arabia, Uzbekistan, USA, Australia, New Zealand, Egypt, and Russia. It was my privilege to represent India at the UN General Assembly high-level segment this year. I took the occasion to engage with the G4, the L69, Quad, IPSA, BRICS, CELAC, and CARICOM, and hold multiple trilaterals and bilaterals. Our ministers of state have been equally vigorous in promoting India's interests abroad. Shree Muralidharanji went to Brazil, Senegal, USA, Oman, Djibouti, Kenya, Eritrea, and Nigeria. Srimati Meenakshi Lekhiji represented India at the SICA summit at Kazakhstan and visited Georgia, Norway, Iceland, and Malta. Dr. Rajkumar Ranjan Singhji was our representative at the IORA Ministerial and visited Indonesia. So, the House would also be aware that as the chair of the Counter-Terrorism Committee of the UN Security Council, India hosted its special meeting in October. All 15 members participated and paid homage to victims of the 26/11 terrorist attack at the Memorial Wall in the Taj Mahal Palace Hotel. This was the first time that the UNSC held a meeting in India. The Delhi Declaration emphasized the need to display zero tolerance towards terrorism and to combat it in all its forms and manifestations. Chairman, sir, I'm happy to inform the House that after a gap created by COVID, India will be hosting the 17th Pravasi Bharatiya Divas at Indore from 8 to 10 January 2023. This year's theme acknowledges the contributions of Indian diaspora as, quote, diaspora, reliable partners for India's progress in Amrit Kal, unquote. The 32 million Indian diaspora is a great source of support for our country. India's 4C commitment of care, connect, celebrate, and contribute would be on display during these celebrations. His Excellency President Muhammad Irfan Ali of Guyana will be the chief guest of the Pravasi Bharatiya Divas 2023. Where Republic Day 2023 is concerned, we have invited His Excellency President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi of Egypt as the chief guest. He has graciously accepted the invitation. Honorable members would also be glad to know that the 12th World Hindi Conference will be jointly organized by India and Fiji from 15 to 17 February 2023 at Fiji. This will be the first occasion for hosting this event in the Pacific region. Chairman, sir, foreign policy today is no longer just an exercise of a ministry or even simply that of the government. It has a direct impact on the daily lives of all Indians. This may be in ensuring that our products have market access or that our talent gets into the global workplace. But it is equally an effort to ensure that technology, best practices, and capital flow into India. Our endeavor in a difficult global situation is that the welfare of the Indian people is ensured, however challenging the circumstances. This may be in exceptional situations like Operation Ganga in Ukraine, or the ability to access key necessities like energy and fertilizers on affordable terms. Or indeed, in concluding migration and mobility partnerships, as we have just done with Germany. Indian foreign policy is there to serve the Indian people. We will do whatever it takes to discharge that responsibility. It could be in ensuring international support for our policies or in the acceptance globally of our interests and objectives. These may be difficult times, but it is also an occasion to display our leadership and make a strong contribution to global peace, stability, growth, and security. Honorable members know this well and understandably approach the ministry sometimes with their particular concerns and issues. It has been our earnest effort to respond as effectively and as sincerely as possible to their communications. We are extremely conscious that foreign policy must respond to the requirements and demands of our society. We demonstrate that as much through the activities of our embassies abroad as we do at home through improved passport and immigration services. I have every confidence that this august House does appreciate both our promotion of national interests abroad as well as our responsiveness to the daily requirements of our people. I conclude with the expectation that the House will continue to extend its fullest support to our efforts and encourage our success in the G20 presidency in particular and foreign policy in general. Thank you so much.